Hello neighbor, I'm Robert Burns, and we wish everyone a very happy new year. And it is such a delight to be back with you, and we look forward to bringing you many exciting posts on Sound Off Louisiana in the year 2019. And we certainly hope that everyone enjoyed our initial post for 2019, which dealt with a brand new website. We're going to put it across the screen here for just a moment and give it another plug. Many of you will recall that website being thechoiceisclearla.com. As many of you would know, Sound Off Louisiana has gone on record as formally endorsing the candidacy of U.S. Congressman Ralph Abraham in his quest to become the next governor of the state of Louisiana. So once again, that URL is www.thechoiceisclearla.com. Now, as many of you would know, we tend to drill down deep in many of the features that we do. And today will be no exception. And of course, many of you know that we report on Louisiana State Police fairly extensively, and that's going to be the case again today. Now, many of you will recall early 2017 when we had a tumultuous, it was labeled retirement, for former Colonel Mike Edmondson. I'm not going to go into all the detail because that's been aired ad nauseum in the press. But at any rate, at the time that Colonel Edmondson felt the need to retire, we'll let it go at that, obviously Governor Edwards had to appoint a replacement for him. And the gentleman that Governor Edwards chose as his replacement is a gentleman named Kevin Reeves. He is now the current lieutenant for Louisiana State Police, Kevin Reeves. Now, at the time that now Colonel Reeves was under consideration for this colonel's position, there was a little bit of a problem in that his son, Caleb, was enrolled in the Louisiana State Police Training Academy, and what it would mean is that because of anti-nepotism provisions within Louisiana's framework, that Caleb would not be eligible to work for Louisiana State Police with his father being the colonel. And in the 2017 legislature, in order to remedy this problem, because it was deemed to be unfair to Caleb Reeves that, hey, I was already enrolled in this and now my father becomes colonel, you tell me I can't work for you or can't work for Louisiana State Police, which had always been a goal of his. So there was a special bill introduced in the early part of the 2017 legislature. It was House Bill 308 by Representative McFarland, and we'll give you a link for that particular bill. And it was going to, for all intents and purposes, was going to carve out an exception for Caleb Reeves, and it was specific to Louisiana State Police and so forth. And at the time that, well, first of all, there was a Picayune article that had been written, I believe, by Julie O'Donoghue, that had said that, hey, this may pose a problem for Colonel Reeves' son. And there was also an Advocate article by Rebecca Allen that talked about making this special exclusion for Caleb Reeves. And we're going to give you the link for the Advocate article, and it's referenced in the text of our feature today, mainly because Colonel Reeves was then quoted as saying that I want to assure there's going to be no special privileges. The discipline will be handled in just like he's any other trooper. There won't be any special promotions. There won't be any special conditions for transfer. And I will just say that Sound Off Louisiana has been contacted by some troopers that are now calling into question whether or not that may have in fact occurred. And as you saw by the title of our feature today, did Caleb Reeves, the son of Colonel Kevin Reeves, receive special treatment in his transfer from being a street beat trooper out on the road to being a detective. And so in order to try to substantiate this, once these troopers contacted us, naturally I made public records requests to obtain evidence of any such transfer, and we're going to blow up the responses that we got, and it's clear that this is a hot potato, and I'll go into why very briefly. But you will see the cover letter written by Faye Morrison who is the head of legal affairs for state police. And I'll draw your attention to, well, first of all, the latter part of the first paragraph saying that there are no documents responsive to your request. Nevertheless, they provided me with what is called a personnel action request, and focusing your attention on the second, I'll try to adjust for the sun there, on the second paragraph, which we have highlighted, you'll see that boy, I have to really work on trying to shield you from that sun. Let's see. Now it won't sit steady. There we go. We'll focus in on the second paragraph, and it says, although Caleb Reeves was transferred from patrol to BOI, that would be Bureau of Investigations, that transfer did not result in a change job description or change of job title. And then it says the personnel action request related to the transfer is attached for your review. And we're giving you that personnel action request. And I will just say that some troopers posed the question of me, well, if there was no change in the job description or the title of the job, is he still out there patrolling? Obviously, it's a rhetorical question because clearly the answer would be no. It's been openly suggested, more than politely hinted, that this was a very fast-track transfer. Now, I will say this, I have made a number of public records requests of Louisiana State Police, and this is the first time ever that the public information officer, Doug Kane, chose to call me on December 20th, the date that I was to receive this, and as you can see, that's the date that it is dated. And he said, Robert, I need you to understand one thing, and I'm going to state that because I'm going to state exactly what he said. I believe in complete and fair disclosure. He said, I need you to understand this is a lateral transfer. Okay, it's not a promotion. There was no increase in salary. And he reinforced that by saying, Robert, a trooper is a trooper is a trooper, and a sergeant is a sergeant is a sergeant. And so I'm just repeating what he said so that in order to be fair about what is being contended here, I can only tell you that there have been some eyebrows raised by this, and there's been the open calling of question about whether or not this transfer was a fast-tracked transfer. And I want to just briefly state that I know how this kind of thing can affect morale, and I'll briefly talk about right as I got out of college. Many of you may know that I am an inactive CPA. My undergraduate degree was actually in finance, and all of my working career, with the exception of what I'm about to relate to you, was related to commercial banking, be it either in private banks or at the FDIC or the RTC, where I served as a fraud investigator. But at any rate, when I was graduating from LSU, my father had just recently passed away. I was the only child. I was having to care for my mother as well as two grandmothers. That was the household that I was presented with at 21 years old, both my mother and both grandmothers. And consequently, I was going to be severely constrained on my ability to travel. And I was interviewing with what at the time was a Big 8 CPA firm. It's now Big 6. It was Coopers & Lybrand. Now it's PricewaterhouseCoopers. And when I had the interview at LSU, I just mentioned that, look, my ability to travel is going to be limited, so I really need to be in the tax department. Back then, your two main focuses on a CPA firm were either audit or tax. They've since greatly expanded into management, information systems, and consulting, things of that nature. But back in the old days, if you will, it was, and that would be, I graduated in 1985, so for those of you curious about my age, it was mainly audit and tax. Well, I did not know there was anything special about that request. I mean, I really didn't. I had no idea. Nobody had told me that it's not the norm in a Big 8 accounting firm for you to go straight into the tax department. You have to earn your stripes over in the audit department. And Coopers & Lybrand at the time, Coopers & Lybrand, like I said, it's now PricewaterhouseCoopers, they granted that request. For which I was quite appreciative, but I didn't realize that there was anything special in that request. I did it for the reasons I just told you, but I can only tell you that when I walked into that office, I got some stares. okay? I'm just going to be blunt about it. I got some stares, and I guess they must have wondered, who did I know within the Coopers and Lieben hierarchy to pull that off? And the reality is, I don't know anybody. Nobody, okay? I did graduate my undergraduate degree from LSU. I did graduate with a 4.0 GPA, so I felt like I would be a good employee for the firm. My major, as I said, was finance, but I had sufficient accounting classes to sit for the CPA exam, and I did sit for it, and I passed it my first time. But perhaps, I don't know, perhaps they thought that that may justify what I didn't know at the time, circumventing the normal procedure. I can just tell you that there was a lot of resentment, okay? And I said that to say this: I can only tell you that there have been some eyebrows raised at the individual trooper level over what has happened here. I'm not passing judgment. I don't know whether this is outside of the norm or not. I just don't know, okay? But in an effort to be fair, all right, because like I said, Doug Kane called and he said, Robert, this is strictly a lateral transfer. A trooper is a trooper is a trooper. A sergeant is a sergeant is a sergeant. Well, we're making a public records request, and we're going to blow that public records request up for you as well. And what we're going to ask for, and we're going to rebroadcast this feature with whatever results we get. I'm going to ask for, and by the time you're viewing this, the request will have already been made. I'm asking for any evidence over the last 7 years that there's ever been any other trooper who has been transferred from a street beat patrol to detective. And we'll see if there has ever been any such, say, trooper that has gotten such a transfer. I'm also going to, in an abundance of fairness, ask to see any training that Caleb Reeves may have received during his approximate year and a half that he's been with state police that would have made him perhaps more qualified for this than someone else that could have justified if in fact a fast track has happened. And I'm not saying that it has. I'm just saying what I've been, told by some troopers. I have told you what Doug Kane has said. We're giving you the links for the Advocate article wherein they said there would be no special treatment. I know that there was an awful lot of troopers who had a high level of distrust for Mike Edmondson because of basically if you were in the clique, you were going to get some special treatment. And there has been some suggestion that that trend is continuing. I don't know any other way to say it other than just to say what's been said to me. And I'll let it go with that. We will give you the update once we get the results from our public records request, and whatever, let the chips fall where they may. I don't know if Colonel Reeves would care to want to make a on-camera statement of the addresses. I'll be happy to provide that. If Doug Kane would like to, I'll be happy to provide that. I will accommodate, and there will be no editing out of any video. I will accommodate anybody making the statement they'd like to. I've told you what Doug Kane told me over the phone, but if he'd like to appear on camera to say that directly to the rank and file troopers, I'll be happy to provide that, make that provision for him. So we're going to have some more exciting features coming up in the coming days. I want to again thank all of our loyal viewers. I apologize if the sun may have caused you a little bit of glare problems on this video. It looks okay to me, but sometimes this can be deceiving. But we're back, and hope everyone had a happy holiday season, and we look forward to bringing you more features, particularly during this, what we believe is going to be an exciting election season in 2019. And let me conclude by making one last plug for that brand new website, www.thechoiceisclearla.com. We're flashing it on the screen again. Once again, www.thechoiceisclearla.com. Thank you so much. This is Robert Burns, and we'll see you soon again on another Sound Off Louisiana feature. Thank you again.